Hey Zadivas, this is Super Summer BBQ coming to you with SuperCard video number 12. I know it's been a while, at least a week since I've uploaded anything. It's not because I haven't been busy in terms of recording, I just not had the time with work and other commitments, which you'll see in a few moments, which have made me unable to upload or edit any of the videos that I've done. We've got a lot coming up. I've got about 6 or 7 videos that are going to be great for you, and I'm hoping to have them come out one day at a time over the next couple of, well, at least the next week or so. Plus, we've got the Road to Glory stream, which is coming up, as you can see in front of you, which you have a brand new Road to Glory, which is just one of the new things that I wanted to show off to you, which is going to be for Triple H, who is a left arrow. And there's not been a left arrow event card that's been available on Road to Glory ever since Road to Glory started. That makes a big change because that is going to effectively level up the odds when it comes to people using the old People's Champions cards like Tito Santana and The Rock. Now, you could argue that it's all going to be put to bed when the new WrestleMania fusions come out, and there is new evidence saying that there is going to be even more WrestleMania fusion cards coming out. There's now saying there's Macho Man Randy Savage, there's going to be Ultimate Warrior, The Undertaker, and a Triple H card itself in that tier. It looks like there's going to be at least 10 normal, as in Superstar and Diva cards, in total, and there's going to be a support card on each side as well, so it looks like that's going to be amazing. Whether when it comes out, we don't know. Personally, I'd like it to stay off for a little while just so we can let the WrestleMania tier start kicking off. Maybe start releasing it when there's been 4 or 5 events come out. I don't know, maybe release it towards the end of the WrestleMania tier, maybe, I don't know, May or June time, but keep it out for now. People are just going to abuse the system if they end up getting access to it. So let's talk about Road to Glory first of all. We know about the Triple H card, I've already mentioned it. The stats look awesome. They look like a combination between Brock Lesnar's stats from the People's Champion event, which, if you've been living under a rock, Brock Lesnar and Roman Reigns were a People's Champion event, and Roman Reigns was more of a average stat, so everything was kind of similar. Whereas Brock was very high on power and toughness, and not so high in speed and charisma. Triple H, whilst not being the speediest person, is definitely faster than Brock, but does have the advantage over Brett when it comes to power and toughness. Power and toughness, I believe, but also is just under Brett with regards to charisma. So it kind of fits that gap in between. So it's going to be interesting to see how the card fits in once it's fully proed, which will be happening on Thursday. I'm going to do my usual live stream from 8 AM GMT, which is in British time. I don't know what the times are in the US. I believe you're 5 hours in front if you're Eastern time, so that would be 3 AM in the morning for those of you who are dedicated enough. Pacific time, I'm assuming it starts at 12 still, which should be 12 midnight. So if you guys are dedicated enough to stay up, please jump on the stream on Twitch and come and watch. Now, there is already an error on this, by the way. I just want to clear up. I've actually just spoken to Game Dad on Twitter, and apparently the John Cena card you can see in front of you, which is a super rare, should be a rare, and that was just a mistake made by the game's designer. So that is going to be fixed, just in case any of you are rare players. One other thing that is going to be fixed, and I believe this has already been fixed, and there's been a lot of discussions on Twitter about this, some actually from myself, yikes, about three-man banding and uncommon modes. Now, three-man band, which was where you could basically nerf or drop your deck a level by using common and uncommon cards if you had WrestleMania cards, Survivor cards in the past. That was supposed to go in King of the Ring. I don't know if it's still around, but it doesn't look like it's, well, at the moment anyway, it doesn't look like they've really changed too much other than made you have to have a full deck of decent cards to get into the WrestleMania King of the Rings. but you can still do the whole benching method of the total card values, which I've mentioned in the previous, like a couple other videos as well. But they've not changed the three-man banding in PCC, and they've not changed it in exhibition mode. So we don't know what's going on there. But one of the biggest controversies of the last Road to Glory, and there's a lot of people who've been going against this, is the uncommon method. And the uncommon method is basically where someone uses an entire deck of uncommon and rare cards to get to the end of Road to Glory. Something went wrong, Cat Daddies, and as it has been confirmed by Dadan, as in Game Dad, who has said that it has been fixed and it will no longer work, and if it does work, then I'm actually going to be speaking to him personally to make him aware of those. So all I'd say is don't try to get around it, because if you do try to get around it, it is going to be found out, and people are going to end up not being able to progress much further if they do try that method. Hopefully it's going to be reduced to +1s. At the end of the day, if you nerf your deck enough to go +1s, and if you're crazy enough to go through all the levels, fine, no problem. And you know what, I did that for the first Road to Glory with Sting. I totally appreciate that, but don't nerf your deck, and the devs need to not allow you to nerf your deck enough for that to happen. With Road to Glory as it is, though, we're going to go up through the levels. We've got Tyson Kidd and Cesaro. This is actually based on the WrestleMania winners, the guys who won their matches at WrestleMania. So you've got Tyson Kidd and Cesaro, who retained their tag team titles at WrestleMania. John Cena, who beat Rusev. Undertaker, who beat Bray Wyatt. AJ Lee, who with Paige beat the Bella Twins. You got Randy Orton, who beat Seth Rollins. Big Show, who won the Andre the Giant Battle Royal. Bryan, who won the Intercontinental Championship ladder match. Seth, if you don't know already, spoiler alert, he did come into the match at a very late stage and cash in. So yeah, and Triple H won his match against Sting, and he is the new Road to Glory champion. Now, on to why I've not really been around that much, because if I was to click OK on this message now, you'll then find out why. There is a saying that Paul Heyman once said when he was on WWE programming about Brock Lesnar, and he said, how do you solve a problem like certain person? And I'd like to start this off by saying, how do you solve a problem like Road to Glory Bret Hart? Because Bret Hart has been going to everyone. It got massively abused, this uncommon method, and so as a result, you have to create a solution to that problem. And the solution is one of these bad boys. Yes, I'm in possession. I was one of the 200 to get a Brock Lesnar People's Champion card. If you didn't notice already, they changed the format to be, instead of the top 5, to be the top 200. So the rewards have changed massively. And this card is insane. Absolutely insane. Yes, it loses on speed, it loses on charisma. Not by much, I may add, by the way, to Bret Hart. But on the flip side, it annihilates on power and toughness when you add additional support cards to it. And it teams up very nicely with my other WrestleMania Pro, which you don't know if you haven't been watching my Twitch or following me on Twitter. I did get myself a second Bad News Barrett in one of my recent King of the Ring results. Now, as you can see, a lot has changed, and I wanted to use this video also to update you guys as to what had actually changed with my lineups. Now, obviously, I've got the Brock card. Obviously, I've got the Bret card from the last PCC, so the last Road to Glory, which you guys know about. I also got my Bad News Barrett card, which is a perfect down arrow to complement Brock Lesnar. I have since also been able to obtain a Ric Flair, a Rob Van Dam, Andre the Giant, and a Jack Swagger, which I pulled during the PCC event itself. So I'm in a good position to hopefully get another WrestleMania Pro. Now, with that in mind, I want to just go through PCC ranking system first, because that part is important to me because I finished very highly ranked compared to what I was expecting to happen. I expected to finish in quite a much weaker position and actually be scrapping around the 200 points mark. And I'm not going to lie to you, I was reading the forums, I was reading Twitter, I was speaking to people on Skype. I'd like to, first of all, before I do anything, shout out to the guys Edward, to Adnan, to Kill Moose Kill, to Copter, to Lil G, to Dez, to Drix, and to Kenneth Knight as well, for all being super supportive with the People's Champion running, and everyone on Team Bork, as we're now calling it, as in Bork Lazy, if you've ever heard the meme, for getting your PCC Brock Lesnar cards. But I did phenomenally and finished in the top 16. Now, first of all, we have Monty's card, so deck, which is finished in the top 5 as the number 1. Jonathan finishing in the top 2 with 40,000. Everyone knows who he is. A new guy called Zixers, who I've been speaking to a bit on Twitter. Awesome guy, seems really down to earth, and he's coming to the top 5. Hassan, I've not seen him personally beforehand. Ben Ko, who finished on 33,333 points. I'm sure that was intended, Ben. Kill Moose Kill, who I've mentioned before. KHK, 66 as well. Vigaro, Craig, Double D, Fersham, Alex, Lemonade, X-Rep, Victor Double V, and who's that? It's me. Number 16. And hang on a second. There's Edward below. You need to have a look at the Twitter exchanges me and Edward had around the time at the end of the People's Champion event, because basically I'd finished above him and he didn't realise that, and he posted a bragging post basically saying that I basically was he'd beaten me and he'd done it with no titles at all and he was awesome, etc. And yeah, I just basically sent him an RKO out of nowhere, and basically said, yeah, I beat you actually, so keep quiet, shut him up. Just to go through the rest of the top 25, because I appreciate this is going on for a little bit longer. NTEO, I know he usually finishes in the top 10. He's had the Rock PCC Pro before. A9, Remy, Shanavaz, who I believe also did it, no titles at all. Talan, Misspelled, Side Guy, and Adnan, who, as always, needs a shout because the guy is awesome, especially given the fact that he could not play at all on Sunday until he basically rushed back to get the job done. The simple point is that a lot of these in the top 200 got the card. There was a lot of people who've missed out, and I'm not going to go through who did and who didn't get the card, but there's a lot of people who are very annoyed. I just go on the forums, so it's 2K forums. If you don't know where that is, just type it into Google and just have a look, because there's a lot of people who actually did finish in the top 200 and then the scores calculated themselves, and yeah, it wasn't pretty. Alas, I finished rank 16, which is the best I've ever done. I've never done more than 8,000 points in a PCC before, and that, in all fairness, was the top 100 in both the Gold Dust and the, I believe, I can't remember which one, the Undertaker PCC as well. So I finished very high in those two in terms of points, but mainly because at that point people kind of stopped caring about getting them, especially with rumours of this new tier coming along, which is now obviously here, as you've seen. Another thing I wanted to give you for this video, because I appreciate a lot of my King of the Rings that I'm doing, I'm not actually showing you who I get as a result of those. And I thought it'd be important for you just to see the kind of rewards I'm getting, because I am now undefeated in King of the Ring competitions, and I've not lost a single King of the Ring. I've always won it since WrestleMania tier started. I'm on a winning run from back into the Survivor tier, actually, before just as the Fusions came out. So I've not actually lost a single King of the Ring, which is crazy. I'll be doing future ones on YouTube. It's just purely because I've been busy over the last week or so that I've not been able to show you guys. But just to give you an idea of who the guys who I was facing, JJJ666 is one of the guys who was able to get one of the Brock Lesnar cards. I did have I thought was going to be a very hard match against a guy called Draven. who had the table, which gives you minus 125 power to your opponent. It's devastating. But I changed my deck around to basically allow for my Bad News Barrett to team up with Roman Reigns. That then allowed me to take advantage of that, and thankfully I managed to get past what was the biggest challenge and eventually get the win. So I thought I'd show you who I got as my winning card, and I'm hoping for a Nikki Bella because there's a lot of people getting WrestleMania Diva Pros, and I need those. I need one at least, because otherwise I'm going to walk into the next King of the Ring, and whilst I am going to have a Brock Lesnar that only 199 people otherwise have, I am unfortunately going to be running up against people with WrestleMania Diva Pros, which is then going to mean that my progress will just come to a screeching halt. I'll do great in the singles matches and the tag matches, but I won't do well in the other matches. So I'm hoping for that. Realistically speaking though, a left arrow or an up arrow or a down arrow would be great. Personally, I just want another pro, because Road to Glory is coming up. I want a better deck. So let's go through the rewards. Let's get a WrestleMania card and the Random Survivor. So the WrestleMania card is a Cesaro, so it's another single, which doesn't help, but it is a good card. It's a great card for power and toughness, and whilst not great on charisma, it certainly helps at least. And then we have an Eva Marie. So not the greatest rewards, but it's still another WrestleMania card. It's still something that if I pulled another Cesaro off the board, or get one from the next King of the Ring I did, it's going to help me now. But I'm going to play a couple of games for you now, just to show you what the PCC Brock looks like. And it is just astounding to see the difference it makes, especially when it comes to the Bret Hart matches. You'll see in a second. So let's go after Dan first of all. Toughest match, Brock Lesnar. Then you can see straight away, even with the dustbin being used as the support card, easy win. Slight bit of a mismatch against Brie Bella. And a charisma match. Obviously going to lose this one because the cards are going to mismatch. In fact, actually no, might still win because the cards I'm going against aren't that great. But that's just as an example for you of just the massive difference it has. That's rare stop sign there. Let's go against KOTR. KOTR I faced a lot in PCC. Yeah, I believe he had quite a decent deck that I'm aware of anyway. So I'm going to throw this match first of all because it's going to definitely be against Bret Hart, and it's probably a good decision I did. I'm going to send in a toughness. I'm going to send out Bret again so I can tag up with Brock and with Bad News Barrett if need be. Toughness and speed with Bella. Easy win for Fusion Nikki. Have a couple of board picks. See if we can get a few. That'd be awesome if we can get a WrestleMania card in this. I'm only doing a couple of short plays just to show you guys what it's like to play with Brock. Power and speed of the Diva, so that should be hopefully a win unless something crazy happens. Yep, easy win for Fusion. Okay, so I've got charisma. Now I'm going to send up Bret anyway because regardless of what happens, Brock will win. See? Two cards are way too powerful. He actually had a Brock card, which I went up against, so that's actually quite interesting. But because he didn't have that WrestleMania card, that's the first Brock card I've seen, so even though 200 people got it, that's the first one I've actually seen him play an exhibition. Go for another toughness match. Again, I'm just going to stick down toughness. That part, because Bret can't proc on toughness, which is always helpful. Threw away the Bad News Barrett there because I knew that it was never going to benefit me to throw out the two just in case the other singles match came up, and that's a useful tactic to use in PCC, just to let you know. If you have got anything that if you're concerned about throwing out your best card, it's not necessarily always about just throwing out your best cards you've got available. Throw out a card that you know won't win certain matches. So if you played someone many times, if that one card hasn't come out yet, always use it. Always throw it out because it's always going to help you. They're going to lose their first match against Brock. Wow. Okay, so losing this match, he's procced once and used his support on the other, which, yeah, Tigger's TT just kicked my ass. Let's see if I can find anyone else. Angry Mr. Bungle. Did he get one of the Brock cards? I'm not sure. So going to win against his Brett and his John Cena. So there is going to be a significant advantage to the guys who do have that Brock card. In terms of doing 3-man banding or 4-man banding, they're going to have a significant advantage. Next match going to go Sir Onicom. Speed and charisma with regards to Diva. Going to proc both times. This one's going to be interesting. Yep, going to win. He must not have given... He had a deck once, which means I probably am best off just sending out a charisma anyway. Yep, he had a deck charisma increaser. Toughness, easy win. He doesn't have the Brock card. Brock and Bad News Barrett combined together. Easy. Couple more board picks. Put in the comments below where you finished in the PCC. Were you one of the ones who was unfortunate enough to get in the top 200 and then being forced out of it? Did you get one of the Brock Lesnar pros? Did you get a single card? Was your aim to go for something different? Were you one of the lucky ones who pulled a Daniel Bryan when it was one of your first cards and were able to get access to it? With Road to Glory, have you pulled a Seth Rollins card? Because if you have, then that's going to be another pro for you. Let's have a look at extensions, see if we can go with this guy. Speed on Bret Hart needs a much better support card than I have to be able to beat it, because Brock Bret can't proc in speed. Power's going to beat because he's got a Blassie. Power and toughness, easy win, because that is Bad News Barrett and Brock Lesnar's specialties. And let's go for Genesby. If I don't get the next pull in the Road to Glory event, I will be reverting my deck back to the original WrestleMania Plus tier, especially after I get that Triple H. So lots of Bret Hart, but easy win for Brock, even with a tough Reigns card to go up against. There we go. So let's get this board cleared. Anyone else with a pro? No. Let's go up against Jason. Jason's got one of the lucky guys who's managed to get a WrestleMania Pro page. I think he was one of the ones who got the Brock card. If he didn't, I'd be very surprised. It's not shown straight away if he hasn't. I'm going to easily lose that one there, because WrestleMania page, the WrestleMania Divas are just crazy, and you just seen by that example why, when I said earlier, I was so desperate to get another Diva, or a Pro Diva, because they are just so much better than the Fusion cards and the Road to Glory Nikki card. Let's go to Bree2J. Let's get this board cleared. As soon as this board's cleared, we'll move out of the video. Have a power. Send out his Brock, which is just going to pad in comparison. Tag team toughness. Let's send. Just send out the Duffs. Toughness, not going to win against Nikki. Of a Brock Lesnar. Just not the kind of one I want. Give me a WrestleMania one. I'd love it. That card is so powerful. I think it's our top 2 or top 3 best card in the game. Let's just send out the 2 toughnesses. Not stick any supports on, because that can also be something that which affects you. If you've got two very good supports, especially if you've got something like the Blassie and the Power Speed, two very different benefits of card. Hold them back if you can. If you know you're going to win against someone with a tag team, or you've got a very good chance, always hold it back, because you could use that to your advantage later on. Easy 3-0 win against Sergeant Bash. And still not going to get that end of. Let's go to Talal. Talal I faced again a few times in PCC. He came out as one of the better decks at the top end. Do I go for toughness? Because it should beat. So yeah, I was going to go for speed. Going to bring out Roddy Piper, which I'm surprised it didn't save it for a tag. He brought out a different card instead. Power and Charisma. Easy win because the two cards don't meet up. I'm surprised it didn't give out the Dean Ambrose first of all, so it could tag later, because usually, and especially a lot in the People's Champion event, did that a lot. It was bringing out tag teams together to make it even harder, and you're getting people who had Edge, Roddy Piper, Super Rare Lana, which gives us the board pull, which resets the board. Ah hell, I'll just go through another one for you just in case. Charisma. Yeah, I might just give this one a miss just in case. Which I could have still gone with it, but hey ho. D for his speed. So I've now got to hope this next one's a tag match of power toughness. It is power toughness, so it's easily going to beat his Bret Hart. No problems whatsoever with that one. So 2 more board picks, and that's going to be done. So please like, share on, subscribe. Please pass it on to your friends, because we are going to begin more and more videos out back to how it was as soon as possible. Please leave your thoughts on how you thought the People's Champion event has gone. Leave your thoughts also on what you believe should be done about the current situation with regards to uncommon methods in Road to Glory. How should you be able to get a awesome card with a very, very weak lineup? Should it be the same as People's Champion, where people have a strategy, and maybe the cards in Road to Glory should be variant, or you should have to work different ways to get them? Leave your comments in the section below. This has been the Super Summer God BBQ. So leave.